Fire Emblem fan. In fact, if you're particularly nerdy, you may have saw the title of this video and thought to yourself, what do you mean the Fire Emblem game I've never heard of? I've heard of them all. In fact, I can list them all right now. It goes like...
Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light, Gaiden, Mystery of the Emblem, Genealogy of the Holy War, Thracia 776, the Biden Blade, the Blazing Blade, the Sacred Stoners, Path of Radiance, Radiant Dawn, Shadow Dragon, New Mystery of the Emblem, Awakening, Fates, now in 3 flavors, Cherry, Grape, and Blueberry, Echoes, Shadows of Valentia, 3 Houses, Engage, Warriors, Heroes, 3 Hopes, Shin Megami Tensei, Tokyo Mirage, Codename Steam, and of course, who could forget, Arachnia Senki Hen broadcasted on the Satellaview. But there's just one more.
Fire Emblem Bloodlines is a ROM hack made by, Gas Station? Okay, Fire Emblem Bloodlines, Chapter 1. Where do we begin? So it opens up with this, like little kid prince guy, right? And already we're off to a major W. Did you spot what happened? Okay, well, if you didn't, I don't blame you, because it's not about what happened, it's about what didn't happen. You see, a lot of the older Fire Emblem games will, like, open up with a just big-ass, like, Star Wars-style text crawl. Even Genealogy of the Holy War, heralded as one of the most emotional and deep stories in the series, begins with, like, this big-ass fucking history lesson, and I don't want to do fucking homework to play a video game. Like, come on, man. Doing it. Maybe I'm just too ADD zoomy, but like, give me some characters to, care about, and then maybe you can start dumping history homework on me. Prince Kazoo Kid here is, right, like kind of a prodigy child. And, Chapter 1, our tutorial battle is, is like a sparring match with the others. Very basic stuff, right? So far, this just kind of seems like normal Fire Emblem, right? So anyways, after Prodigy Kid's sparring match, he's pumped. He can't wait to tell all of his classmates about how, like, he gets to train with, the best of the best, and how he can do so much. But his big brother, Prince Ortis, tells him, hey, we're literally, royals. We're privileged, which means we gotta stay humble, because very few people get to live the luxurious life we do. The point is, Big Brother Ortis, remember him, okay? Chapter 2, right? Little Prodigy Kid gets his pedal to the metal. He gets a real test, and we get to see how well his studying and training, paid off. But first, let's take a look at the gameplay. Off the bat, you're going to notice some differences from your standard Fire Emblem gameplay, all right? If you take a look here on your left, you might see a big-ass fucking centaur, right? And you also might have noticed the pig guy, his name's Narbid. And that's kind of one of the first things I like about this ROM hack, is that it had some fun new classes. I mean... And they've got like unique sprites for the overland map, for the battle animation. It's pretty cool. Though for my boy Narbid, I'm pretty sure they just slapped a pig head on Hector. The other thing you might notice is that our 2 furry units are way stronger and have way better stats than our 2 human units. I wonder if that's going to be like relevant or something. To be fair, our 2 human units on this map are like a literal child and like a Pegasus Knight. And every Fire Emblem player knows you become frail and weak the moment your butt hits that flying horse. Some like noble house in Kazoo Kid's kingdom, right, is like causing a coup because they want the rivers, And so hey, there's a good training opportunity, right? Fucking kick down the doors. Look at the dialogue. He speaks with more elegance and nuance than like every character in Fire Emblem Engage combined. Chapter 3. Now the camera shifts away from this royal noble house to this like guy living in the woods in a shack in a van down by the river. And hey, this guy looks kind of familiar, doesn't he? Has a bad dream, a nice fast-paced flashback sequence that really gets us wondering, like, what took this guy from leaving to get the milk to losing all of his memories and becoming this entirely new person, right? It really makes me, the player, like very curious to see, what happened between these two, I want to find out, but I keep playing. And Bram wakes up, kids yelling, "The town's in danger! Someone took the cows hostage!" So it's up to us to save the cows. So chapter 3, gameplay time. What's the kicker here? Well, because this is where the ROM hack really gets good. Because we get introduced to the best character in the game. Now, this is by far my favorite part of the hack, okay? Introducing Dewey. Who's a good boy? Who's the best dog in Fire Emblem? No, you don't count Keaton. Who's a good boy? And he's on your squad. He's in your army. He's the new playable dog class. And the first thing he does before joining your army is biting someone in the nuts. And the map is like perfectly laid out to where Bram can easily take down these axe bandits in like the lower half of the map, and Dewey takes on the other guys in the top half, where his high speed comes in handy there. Bram's weapon triangle advantage comes in handy in the south. It's very well designed. So we kill the bandits. It's not too hard. But before we end the chapter, I'd like to point out one really fun thing. So there's this village, right? Every Fire Emblem game knows that you will go into the village, you get a prize, right? If you go in there as Bram, right, the villager is like, "Oh, thank you for saving the cows, Mr. Bram. Here, and take this slap patch. Hopefully it will aid in your fight against the bandits." But if you enter the building as Dewey, right, he just pops in there, he runs around, and the villager's like, "Damn you, little rascal!" And the dog, he just zooms in, right, busts in. It's a really fun touch. It's a great attention to detail. Also, some of you keen Fire Emblem gamers might have thought, slap patch, what the hell? That's a kind of another small thing that this ROM hack does that I really appreciate. Some of the basic items are just kind of changed in flavor alone, Like instead of vulnerary, it's a slap patch. You slap it on your wounds, right? Instead of pure water, it's green tea. And instead of booleans, it's stamps, which is a little strange because you think rare collectible stamps is more of like a modern thing than a medieval thing, but hey, fun flavor. Nice addition. So, what's next? Okay. So after saving the village from the bandits, Bram is like, all right, these bandits are kind of an issue. I'm going to go talk to the mayor, and maybe we can organize getting some more security around here so this doesn't happen again. Okay, so yeah, we head on up to the town, and the mayor's been taken hostage. And this time, the attackers are a bit more organized and coordinated than bandits. And you know this because their forces consist of more than just big, buff, burly, naked men. They've got wizards and armor knights, right? But what do we got on our side? And who joins this chapter? Well, we got 2 green units, and we'll get to those guys later because they're very interesting, right? We also got, your classic enemy who you can recruit. It's pretty obvious. She's like, man, I sure do hate kidnapping and murdering. If only there was a better cause I could fight for. And then you just kind of walk up, talk to her like, hey, you want to join? And she does. And then we get her first spear unit. And what I like about this lady is that she screams whenever she gets a crit. Ah! Kind of like that, right? Play the clip, James. And guess what? Oh boy, am I excited, because Chapter 4 gives us our next furry class. Yes. Right? Meet Malcolm. Malcolm's an archer. And archers in old Fire Emblem are kind of eh. But this guy, he can fly, dude. Right? He's a flying archer in like the early game that we get. That's so cool. Like when you never get flying archers in Fire Emblem. I mean, there's like Kinshi Knights in Fates, but like they fucking suck. Like, what is this? A giant goose? Like, come on. Malcolm's way cooler. Look at his animation. Look at him. Look at him do the spinny thing. You know, he's like Falco Smash Bros. He's got like 8 freaking move. He is uninhibited by terrain. There's a secret. I got celery in my windpipe. So, back to the story. We beat the boss, right? Save the day. So, anyways, turns out this attack was done by the by the cult of the Red Luster. You know, and they mention, you know, some stuff about Bram personally in the battle. And, you know, Bram's like, well, what the hell? Maybe I should investigate this further. And he quests, and after having, you know, a few drinks with his homies, he heads out to figure out just what the hell is going on with this cult thing, right? Trust me, you're just gonna have to trust me that the writing is really cool and the characters are great. And honestly, you should just play it yourself, okay? So Bram heads into the forest, right, to go search, right? And bada bing, bada boom, he gets a little ambush. In fact, this map does a number of things like that I really like gameplay-wise from this little forest. So I'm going to go through them one by one. First, we get 2 new units, Jock and Nerd. And the map sets both of them up to like immediately show off their strengths and have them be, you know, useful. Nerd over here is a thief. He's very fast, right? And unlike most Fire Emblem thieves, which are just kind of like straight garbage, you immediately get to see this guy's usefulness, right? Because he starts off like near, you know, some trees and a fort, and you know, which is conveniently within the range of 2 axe bandits, right? And both of them have like a freaking 20% chance to hit him. So right off the bat, we're dodge tanking. Hey, that's pretty cool. And then, right, Jock over here, he's our first axe guy, right? He gets some lanky spear dudes to bully and take the lunch money of. The next kicker with this map is the bees. That's right, bees. It's a new enemy, guys. Bandits, dragons, monsters. No, we're fighting the bees. So we've got 2 types of enemies to deal with. We got the cultists who were chasing us, right, trying to capture Mr. Bram for whatever nefarious purpose. And then we get the bees! But here's the kicker, right? Once again, this ROM hack goes crazy above and beyond. Well, we got like a battle royale situation. We have 2 different enemy factions, but they're not working together because they're bees. How do you cooperate with bees? So basically, like, some of the bandits, right, are like, hey, we got a job to do here. Forget about the bees, just go for the man, go for Bram. We got a job to do. And some of them are like, right, we got to be careful about this. Don't get stung by bees, but do get the target. So some of the enemies will book it for you. Some of them will just attack what's like nearby, right? So the bees kind of save your ass, right? Because, you know, sometimes the enemies will attack each other. Maybe the bees get a kill or set you up for some damage, but, you know, once they're gone, then you gotta deal with the bees or vice versa. I mean, it's actually pretty cool. And the bees are weak to fire also, which really gives our new mage character a chance to shine, who we got in the last chapter, but I didn't really mention. The next thing that this map does that I really, really like is the limitation of resources. Here's the thing. In Fire Emblem, they typically always give you a healer right away, and HP is like always, you know, an abundant supply. You're always 1 turn away. You know, you can always just like pull back your guys, you know, wave around your medical stick, you know, and repair any injuries. And healing staffs are cheap and abundant. But here, not so much, right? Notice how we haven't gotten a healer yet, right? So all we have for HP is slap patches and fortresses, which we can stand in to heal like a pretty small amount, like 10% HP, right? And that's something that's pretty interesting that I don't think I've ever seen in a Fire Emblem game, right? Limited healing. I felt like, you know, this pressure, like, you know, my resources were draining. My guys were, you know, the weariness of the fight. You could feel it in. And you got to make the tough decision. You know, do I press forward or do I you know, use my patches, or do I sit back in the forest and rest? And if you sit back in the forest and, you know, rest to get the free HP, from the forts. Right, these reinforcements spawn in the east side of the map, right, and they start coming in. They're a lot tougher than your typical guys, right? So it's like, ooh, there's a bit of time pressure here. And we can't stand on these forts forever. Right, and that was fun. That was cool. It's interesting. I like it when Fire Emblem games like put the pressure on you. Where you gotta, you can't just dick around and like get all your guys into like the perfect. You spend like 8 turns, getting your guys into the perfect position and making sure everyone's topped off, and and only then will you put one guy in the enemy range to bait him out. Because the boss is too tough otherwise. And all the while, right, the enemy just stands there doing nothing, right? I like that. I kind of like it when, Fire Emblem games put the pressure on you, right? You can't just, spend like 8 turns dicking around getting your units into like the perfect ambush position to go to the next part of the map and making sure all your guys are topped off. Meanwhile, the enemy is just sitting there like, man, I wonder when Marth's gonna show up, right? And they just do nothing, right? I like the pressure that this forest map puts on you, right? So how did my experience with this map go? Well, the reinforcement guys who showed up, right? They were a little scary, but I managed to beat them. In fact, one of them was carrying like a stamp and a weapon, I think, which I think you were supposed to like get as loot for beating him, a little reward for being the tough guy. But, Malcolm got the kill and his inventory was full and we don't have the convoy yet. So bye-bye loot. To finish off this chapter, right, we have a boss fight against this mysterious jester individual, right? Redale. And she's pretty tough.
Could do anything.
Shabam! I've jumped into the midpoint of the video when you least expected it to end the video. Wait a minute. Then it's not really the midpoint now, is it? But the reason I'm doing it is a so sinister one. It's because in psychology science, right, the human brain more likely to remember unfinished business. And thus, anyways, by leaving my video on such an unsatisfying note in the middle of the game when there's much more to see, well, if you want to know what Fire Emblem Bloodlines has to offer for the rest of its chapters, well, you're just going to have to go play it yourself. It's fun. Go play it. There's a link. So that's all for this video. Like or subscribe or something. I don't really know or care. Again, big McThanksies for watching.